Hello and welcome to this week's Confidence Mastery podcast. I'm very, very, very excited this week because I have the lovely Sarah Green joining us. Thank you very much for joining us, Sarah. Would you like to just give people a little introduction to yourself before I sing your praises?
Oh, thank you very much. Yeah, I would love to. Hi everyone. My name's Sarah. I am the CEO of Pyramid Coaching and Consultancy Limited. We're a project management and analysis consultancy based in the UK, although we do serve customers anywhere in the world because we work completely remotely. We focus mainly on tech projects, and our customers are in a whole sort of world of different industries, but we do quite a bit in retail, logistics, supply chain, that kind of stuff. So a lot of business to business, technology projects like changing warehouse management software, um, ERP systems, that kind of thing. So yeah, happy to be here.
Thank you. I'd also like to add that Sarah has been on our mastermind for the past year as well and has gone absolutely guns blazing, um, which has really made me very, very happy. I'm a very happy person to have seen you grow over the past year. Um, I wanted to bring you on because we don't see a lot of women in tech, and I think it's really important that we give voice to that. And what's the confidence behind it going into an almost male dominated industry? What was it for you that made you go, this is what I'm going to
So nothing because I didn't do that. I fell into it. So yeah, I think it's definitely a good point about the whole fact that there is obviously a shortage of women in tech. There's a shortage of women in supply chain and logistics as well. So it makes it a niche upon a niche, I think, to work in that industry. But my background is actually nothing to do with either technology or necessarily supply chain either. It's I started at university with a degree in history. I'm very much somebody that's into creative things and performing arts, and I wanted to be a singer and an actress when I grew up when I was young. So I ended up in tech a little bit of a unusual route in that when I finished uni, I thought, oh my God, I don't want to be a teacher. And so I'm not really sure what I'm going to do with a degree in history. And I ended up, after a couple of years, just kind of doing a pretty boring graduate job, going to work as an intelligence analyst for a law enforcement agency in the UK. Um, and that got me really into analysing data, and in particular, things like telecoms data, mapping data using quite a lot of analytical software that's used in law enforcement. And I really enjoyed that. So I sort of moved from that into um, another sort of crossover between analytics and project management, which is looking at forensic audit projects. So it was bringing together the analytical skills that I already had, but also moving into a management role and taking on project management. And because in that role, I worked a lot with retailers and supply chain, I ended up bringing together these two things of being very, very familiar with the software and the data that drives retailers, supply chain, and all that kind of thing. So when I ended up setting up my own consultancy firm and going and doing project management for clients, it just made sense to work in the arena where I had by that point sort of 10, 15 years of experience just working around building the systems, building software, doing data analytics in that sort of world. So it was a bit of a backdoor way into women in tech, absolutely. But it's something that I think is I'm really passionate about because I don't necessarily think that you know what you want to do when you're young. I think you
do?
can move into a tech role pretty easily at any age because we use technology, all of us, every day in whatever job that you are doing. And a lot of it is actually just common sense because at some point, all technology was new. You know, the wheel was technology at one point. So, there's always emerging technologies and you could be as much at the forefront of that as anybody else. whether you've come from a technology background or not. So I do think it's something that, although historically there's not been quite so many women, we can definitely do something about that going forwards.
I think that's a really interesting point, actually. The wheel was technology, and it is, because it that's a very good analogy. And everything we have to do in life, we have to learn how to do.
Yeah.
This is why I always say, confidence is something that can be learned. You do things on a day-to-day basis with confidence without even thinking about it, like having a shower. Things as simple as that, you once didn't know how to do. So if you can do that in that area, you can do that in any.
Yeah, it's exactly that. I think, attitude and willingness to learn will get you a lot further in any endeavor in life than having the skills already. Because,
Mm,
when you were born, you couldn't do anything. You couldn't
no.
feed yourself, you couldn't walk, you couldn't talk, and you learned those things. You can learn to use technology and you can learn to master it. You can learn to, the skills of project management, for example, and not tied specifically to one type of project. You can work on construction projects, you can technology projects, you can work in any kind of field with those skills. So it's just the way you apply them, and you can learn those skills over time.
What do you enjoy most about what you do?
Oh, customers. I say it every time, it's easy. I don't have to even think about it. Um, this is the reason that I wanted to start my own consultancy firm. I'd worked in consultancy for ages, for at least a decade, for someone else's company. And the thing that I always loved was my customers. I end up friends with them all. They start as customers and they end up friends always. I'm still connected to pretty much every customer I've ever had on like LinkedIn, on Facebook. Sometimes I get WhatsApp messages. I've had cards sent to my home address from them when they've found out that I've got milestones in life like getting married and stuff like that. So um, the thing about being a consultant is that you help people.
Mm,
And so I think that when you go and you work with a client that's got a problem, it's a project that's they need someone to take control of, and you do that for them, um, you build up such an amazing, strong relationship with them that it just lasts forever. It just lasts forever, and it's just such a nice relationship to have. So, yeah, my customers are always the number one reason to enjoy the job.
I love that. That's exactly why I do what I do. It's, being able to see change and create relationships
Yeah,
is everything in life. Um,
yeah,
and what else? I find it so fascinating, actually, how similar we are on so many things. Like, I wanted to be an actress. Um,
yeah.
we like to help people. We both like the gym. Let's talk about the gym.
Oh yeah.
So you've just completed High Rocks recently, haven't you? How was
Yes.
that?
Uh, a mixed bag. I did it. So I did the Birmingham High Rocks just this weekend gone. I've been struggling with a knee injury for about 2.5 months. So I was trying to actually sell the ticket and not take part because I hadn't been able to do any training at all. It was we did the doubles, so I did it with a partner. So we'd not been able to do any training because I've not been able to do any squats or anything like that for months. So yeah, we completed it, and it's one of those where on the day when you do something like that in a pair, um, the sort of sense of joint struggle gets you through. It's so much nicer to do it as a team or as a pair. It's brilliant. So the when we crossed the finish line, it was like, yes, this is brilliant. I'm so glad that we managed to finish it, considering that I've not trained. My knee is in tatters. Um, but about 2 minutes later, we're like, I think we could have done a bit better. I think maybe if we'd have just saved a bit of time here or been more efficient there, we probably could have knocked 10 minutes off our time. So shall we do the next one? So we're signing up again to do probably Manchester this time, bit closer to home for me.
That's amazing. When I did my first Tough Mudder, I got home, I could not move off the sofa, but still booked to do another one
Yeah.
the next year, because my friend I was supposed to do that with also had a knee injury and couldn't do it. So then having done it on my own and with other people the next time, it does make such a difference having people with you and you buoy each other on and you get to that teamwork, that, you know, better togetherness that we often talk about. It's, you know.
Yeah, I absolutely love, because I do CrossFit as well. I absolutely love partner and team competitions, and I've done individual ones as well. But they're just not as fun. They're not as enjoyable. I really love to do things with a partner or with a team, because it is that experience of, especially if it's a long event. So things like half marathons that I've done. There'll be times when you're starting to struggle and your team will get you through it. And the flip side is there'll be times when they're starting to struggle and you get them through it as well. So just having someone with you and the camaraderie, it literally helps you finish the event. It makes you stronger, it makes you faster, because you push harder for your team. I'm always, because part of what I do is I coach people. I don't coach one to one. I haven't done that for a long time because I just don't have the capacity anymore, in terms of kind of time.
Mhm.
I do quite a lot of sort of public speaking at women in tech events and things like that. And I use the gym and sports references quite a lot, because I think everyday lessons that you learn, and for me, I learn a lot of my lessons in the gym, are so helpful in your career, particularly in project management, because you need to build things like resilience and things like that. Um, they make a big difference. They really do. And if you can bring those everyday lessons into whatever it is you're doing, for whether it's your own business, whether it's someone else's business, it's your career, um, you can really rapidly accelerate your progression, um, by making use of everything that you're able to learn, whether it's work related or not.
I completely agree. I use gym references a lot myself. It's one of the easiest things for people to understand. And if you can apply that there, have that discipline, then you can apply that in your business. I also do public speaking, and I couldn't have imagined anything worse a few like years ago, because in school I hated giving presentations, but yeah, I loved being on the stage. What for you do you enjoy about public speaking, and what got you into doing that? Because I think that's something else that people struggle with.
Yeah, so I think for me, it's quite natural for me, because as well as, I wanted to be an actress, but I wanted to be a singer as well, and I was quite happy to stand on a stage by myself, just me and a microphone. So for me, it's quite a natural environment. So that aspect of it, I don't struggle with at all. But the thing that I really love about it is the opportunity to reach many people with your message at once, and to talk about something that you're really passionate about. So you know, my actual business is to do project management and business analysis. Pretty dry subject. It's not especially inspiring. I could talk to people about things like Gantt charts and network diagrams all day long if they really were interested in it, but it's not what gets people out of bed on a morning. People are interested in learning about, well, how can I accelerate my career? How can I earn more money? How can I be more successful? Um, and so I like to kind of use that platform to be able to just inspire and motivate, and use some of my stories from things that I've done over the course of my life, over the course of my career, that's really helped me, and help people find something within themselves to be able to motivate them and encourage them to take a step out of their comfort zone or something like that.
You have a interesting background and story. Would you mind sharing some of?
Oh God, I I when I used to, before I had my own business, I used to work in corporate. I used to have an intake of sort of new recruits every year, and I used to love to do a tell us an interesting fact about you. And I had so many interesting facts to share about myself, because I've just done so many stupid things. So yeah, I think the shortish story is that I um left uni, just sort of normal time at sort of 21, 22, with absolutely loads of debt, loads and loads of debt. More than just student debt, because I'd ended up with credit cards and overdrafts and things like that. So I ended up with tons of debt. So straight out of uni, I ended up in a relationship with a guy who was pretty horrible to me. And so that went on for a few years of being kind of mentally, emotionally, not quite physically abused, but certainly threatened. And just living in constant fear and borderline poverty. It's difficult to think of the poorest we were. We once sold a car to pay 1 month's rent. Trying to think of my electricity was once cut off as well, and we lost like all our food in the freezer and stuff like that. And I was having to feed the cat things out of tins out of the cupboard, because we couldn't afford to buy cat food and stuff like that. So we were definitely very, very, very poor, and in this sort of horrible relationship as well. And I also, as well, just to top it all off, this was before I'd found the gym, which absolutely changed my life. And I had this absolutely horrendous relationship with food, and with my own physical appearance, which was that I absolutely hated the way I looked, and I was obsessed with being thin. And so I would spend many months starving myself to be tiny, because then obviously I wanted to be on stage and I didn't want to be fat and all this stuff. So I had all these sort of shambolic things going on in my life. And then I think when I got to sort of my mid to late 20s, um, loads of things kind of changed all at the same time. So the first thing to change was I escaped that horrendous relationship. So I managed to get away from that with the cat. I took the cat with me. And met my now husband, which obviously was a major shift in the right direction. At that point in time, I was still extremely poor, because I had to move house to get away from the previous relationship. So I I did end up at certain points with my husband, who's a postman, so he's not exactly rich, um, paying for my fuel in my car to get to work because I couldn't afford it. So new relationship, still pretty poor, still didn't like the way I looked. So we then got a few years later, we got married, which was obviously a very, very good turning point in my life. Uh, but I hated all of our wedding photos because I just still hated the way I looked. So a couple of months later, that is when I found the gym. The gym again was a massive turning point in my life. That is what gave me the confidence to just do anything. Actually, the gym gave me the confidence to just be myself, to feel strong, and to feel like I didn't need other people to validate me. I felt like I could just do anything by myself when I really got into that. Um, and then a few years later, decided after 10, 12 years of being in consultancy for someone else's business, that I wanted to do it myself. So I had very definite ideas about how I wanted to be as a sort of boutique consultancy, and really take clients into the core of what we do. So really put them at the heart of everything that is our mission. So this has got, I guess, the final piece of the puzzle after sorting out my romantic life, sorting out my issues with my self-image. Then set up my own consultancy firm, which it started out as just me as just a contractor, and then obviously grew. So we've got actual employees now, multiple clients. So within the first year, I had our six-figure year within the first year, which obviously was a huge milestone for me. And then we've just grown since then, which is pretty exciting. So obviously, if I've had a bit of a better plan, it would have been much, much quicker. But it all sort of came together over the course of about 10 years.
I think it's
But
a really,
got
really
there in the end.
powerful, it's a really powerful story that you've got there, because there's stuff like this that goes on behind closed doors that people don't talk about. And people have their own level of trauma and things that go on. But if we're not open and talking about how we can turn things around, and I think especially as women, the more women that I speak to, the more I think that we need more help than we let on often.
Yeah, I think that's true, and I think we need to help each other as women. Um, and I think um, it's amazing to have our male allies as well. The whole sort of Me Too moment, I know that it's gone on for so long and people are probably a little bit tired of it now. Um, but it still happens in the corporate world. So probably about maybe 5, 6 years ago now, I was at an awards do in London in an absolutely crowded room full of people, and a total random guy grabbed hold of me and tried to forcibly kiss me in front of like hundreds of people. And nobody stepped in to help me, and to the point where I was physically couldn't get away from him because he had hold of me. Um, and
That's
I was
awful.
I was actually about to scream. It had got that bad that I was going to actually have to scream for help. And thankfully, although it was one of the most embarrassing moments of my life, a client of mine who was Guy saw what was happening and did that thing that you do to your friends when they're being pestered in a club, and he swooped in and kind of took me away. But if it hadn't been for him, and he's a client that I'd known for like weeks, like not long at all, but he recognized the situation instantly and had to intervene. But nobody else in the room did, even though it should have been fairly obvious that it was what was going on, because it was broad, kind of well lit room at this big awards do. So it still happens all the time, and it's super important to help, yeah, not only other women but for other male allies to look around and think we're not there yet.
That behaviour is not going on. That
Yeah, we're
shouldn't be going on.
yeah,
It baffles me that people think it's okay to do things like that to
yeah,
people. It's not.
exactly. And that's it. I think we definitely have come a long way. Even within my lifetime, things have improved. But we're absolutely nowhere near where we need to be in terms of equity. So I think it's super important that, we all look around, and not just, women, but other underrepresented groups, whether it's in technology or any walk of life, just to kind of step back and think, actually, I think that there are mechanisms in place here that are holding people back or preventing them from progressing, just built into our culture, built into our workplaces, and try and dismantle those systems so that everyone's getting the same opportunities and are not being held back, or other things happening to them which wouldn't happen in another walk of life.
I completely agree. There's a lot of work to be done, but like you say, progress has been made. You have an incredibly inspiring story. I hope you do realise that. And it doesn't matter how long things take. It matters that you made the progress and made the changes, and that things, demonstrate that things can happen if you put your mind to it and you really want those things. Because otherwise, like you say, the tech side might not be the thing that gets you out of bed in the morning, but knowing that purpose and that reason why. And that's why I talk about this a lot, and it's important to, what is your purpose, what is the why, and being able to help people from all walks of life to create the confidence and have success in whatever it is they want to do. I think it's a really powerful thing to be able to do, which is why we have this podcast and amazing people come on it.
Yeah, I think wanting to help other people is a really, really powerful motivator, because a lot of us will take quite a lot of substandard treatment towards ourselves, and we won't necessarily stand up to it straight away. But if we witness it in somebody else that we care about, we'll be the first ones to shout up and say, hang on a minute, that's not right, you shouldn't be treating them like that. So I definitely think that actually, by giving people the confidence to say, yeah, I'm gonna, you know make myself more visible. I'm going to, stand up for myself. I'm going to stand up for other people, and I'm just going to be part of something, bigger, so that I can fulfill my personal need to kind of help other people. It really does motivate you a lot more than thinking I'm just going to do it for myself.
Because we're also the easiest person to lie to.
Mm.
So if you have to show up for other people, you have to show up for yourself.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And it's, the gym's a good example of that, because it's so easy, especially when you're first getting into something and you've not got that, discipline, and you've not got that kind of routine of going and training or tracking your nutrition and things like that. Um, it's so easy to, just look out the window and think, ah, it's a bit too snowy out there or frosty, I'm not going to go. Or I've got a bit of an headache, I'm just going to give it a miss today. Whereas if you've got to turn up because you're working with a partner, or you're, part of a team or something like that, suddenly it's very different, because you're like, oh God, I can't miss today because I'm going to let so and so down. And then it becomes
Mhm.
very different. So, yeah, showing up for other people, sometimes it helps to motivate you to make you a better version of yourself.
Definitely. Like accountability, that external accountability makes such a difference.
Yeah, yeah, 100%.
I think I need to book myself on something soon.
Well, that's one of the reasons
I
why I do
mean,
competitions as well, because
mm,
if you're doing a competition with a partner, um, you're double motivated really, because A, you've got the competition, but B, you can't back out now because you've got a partner and you can't let them down when they've, put all this effort in for this competition. So yeah, it
yeah,
definitely focuses the mind.
it's been a long time since I've done any external competition other than training for a photo shoot, but that was just vanity.
Got to reward yourself for your hard work, definitely.
Definitely. And there's another one coming up soon because the effort's been put in, the hard work's been done, and that's the next thing. So what's the next thing for you?
Yeah, so at the moment we're in a scaling phase. So we've built organically, brought some additional people into our business. We've got quite a few new clients in the business as well. So we're looking to actually buy another consultancy firm. So we want to scale pretty rapidly. So we're actively looking for other change management consultancies, IT consultancies, um, ideally along the M62, or within sort of an hour of Leeds. It's preferable, but if it's a business that can be delivered remotely, then it could be slightly further away. Just so we can grow our team that way. So if we can, harmonize our business with another consultancy firm, just to expand that customer base, build capacity in terms of people within the business. That's the next stage, really. I personally am really looking forward to freeing up a little bit more of my time and step back from the delivery, um, and do more of my coaching from a stage. I love to travel and just give keynote speeches and seminars, and just really get people motivated and excited, and just know that it doesn't matter where you are right now in your life, because you can change. So I was 27 when things started to change, but it took like 10 years for us to get closer to where I am now. So it doesn't matter when you start or where you start. You've just got to start. You've just got to start somewhere. Otherwise, you're never going to go anywhere if you just don't start. Um, so yeah, I'm super excited about doing that. So yeah, scaling of Pyramid CC is the first step, and then yeah, looking forward to just meeting loads of people, going out, standing on the stage, and just helping people to live the life that they want to live, and get the most out of it without sort of holding back or feeling like they're limited by their circumstances and the position that they find themselves in at that moment.
Hopefully there's somebody listening that will be able to help you with that.
Yeah, I mean, if you've got a consultancy firm in the north of England that you are looking to sell, you feel free to hit me up with a call.
You never know. That's why these things are important. And you know, tell everyone what you do, share the message, and you know, give people the confidence to speak out. And that's what this podcast is all about. So where can people follow you, find you, and online stalk you? Because we believe in online stalking, just not in person.
Yeah. So you can online stalk me through LinkedIn if you would like. It's Sarah Green, and it says Pyramid CC at the end of my name because I recognise that I have probably the most common name in the English language. So it's got the company name in there as well, just to help you out a little bit. So yeah, feel free to come say hi on LinkedIn. I am online, so we do have a website which is pyramidcc.co.uk. Obviously that's the business, so it's not quite so easy to get in touch with me directly. But you certainly can contact me and connect with me on LinkedIn, and happy to be connected on there.
Amazing. Thank you so much for your time and sharing your story with our audience.
Yeah.
If you could leave people with one tip, one top tip to be more confident, what would it be?
To invest in yourself. I truly believe that nothing can build more confidence than feeling strong on the inside, and that's why I love and advocate massively for the gym. Um, Even if so, when I started at the gym, I had literally never ever set foot in a gym in my whole life. I Throughout, even at school, I didn't do physical education. I didn't do PE. I used to skive and write notes with faking my mum's handwriting to say Sarah can't do PE today because she is not well. Um, so even if you've never
I
done it
hated
before,
PE too.
yeah, even if you've never done it before, when you find um, a way to enjoy physical training and build self-belief and self-confidence because of the strength that you're building, the physical strength that you're building in the gym, it gives you mental strength as well, and it gives you that feeling of confidence that you can then take into other realms in your life, whether it's relationships, whether it's work. um it really does make a big difference. So yeah, invest in yourself, and if you can get into training, if you're not already, it is well worth it in more ways than just your physical health.
Oh, definitely. It keeps me sane, that's for sure.
Yeah, 100%.
Well, as sane as one can be.
Yeah, absolutely, 100%.
Yeah. Well, anyway, thank you very much for joining. Thank you to all the listeners for listening. Please do feel free to get in touch with Sarah because she is amazing. And if you've enjoyed this episode, please do share it with your friends, family, loved ones, and even the people that you don't like, because everybody needs a helping hand sometimes. So thank you very much, and we'll see you on the next one.
Thank you, everyone. Bye.
Bye.